All right, so here is just a brief story of my experience as a nurse. I graduated nursing school in 2014. I became a nurse in 2015. I got my first staff job at a level 1 hospital. I was working in an ER, and I spent 2 years there. Let me tell you, they really taught me a bunch. I was exposed to all kind of medical related things, of course. I really do credit this hospital with giving me a very strong foundation as an ER nurse. However, this hospital paid in experience. They did not pay financially. I was very underpaid and some might argue slightly underappreciated. I worked very hard for this hospital, and after my 2 years, I decided I wanted to be a travel nurse. I had again, this is in 2017. This is way before COVID. Rates were very subpar compared to now, but definitely a lot better than what I was making as a staff nurse. So I was kind of hearing people, mention travel nursing, and they were talking about, oh, well, you can make this much money and, all this kind of good stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm very financially motivated. I don't really have any responsibilities. Plus, I wanted to see if I could do it myself. I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to give this a try. If it doesn't work, I'll come back home, or maybe I'm just going to travel nurse for like 3 or 6, maybe 9 months tops, and then I'll come back home. So after 2 years, I did turn in my 2 weeks notice, and I kind of did things backwards. I actually started looking for a contract after I put in my 2 week notice. Took me quite a while to find my contract, but there was definitely some struggles. Took me about 5 weeks to find my first contract. Again, this was pre-COVID. I was very specific. I wasn't flexible about where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to one specific city, and it was just very tough. Took me a while to find that contract. I was very nervous during this time. I did have fears. Having fears about travel nursing, even after you've made that commitment, those are normal. I mean, this is a big leap, a big decision in your life, but let me tell you, it's definitely worth it. I wanted to kind of discuss some of my fears, especially when I first started travel nursing. My first one, like I said, it took me a while to find a contract. I had a huge fear of finding a contract. This one contract that I wanted took me about 5 weeks. So I definitely was getting discouraged and kind of fearful. I was starting to look into non-travel nursing options for myself. Number 2 was finding a good agency. However, that was a ridiculous fear because, in my opinion, there is no best agency. All agencies have pros and cons, and it's all about finding which one is best for you and the contract that you want at that time. Number 3, which was probably my biggest fear, was the taxes and the stipends. I was terrified that I would be receiving these tax-free stipends, and then at the end of the year, I would be slapped with this huge tax bill that basically made travel nursing not worth it. But let me tell you, once I had a good understanding of stipends, I realized this was not going to happen, and kind of took care of that fear as well. I also had a fear, could I do this? Did I have enough experience? Could I handle this? Was I going to be able to live 6 hours away from home, kind of own my own, find my own housing without anybody around? So that was a fear of mine. And then third was I going to enjoy this? Was this going to be worth it? Was I going to spend 3 months in this location miserable and unhappy? So I'm sure I had other fears, but these are just some of the big ones here. Know that they are very It's very normal to have fears about starting travel nursing. However, once you get started, you get your first contract under your belt. It's kind of like a, you know what, I survived that. That was nowhere near as bad as I anticipated. Look at me. I've already got one contract under my belt, and I'm looking for my second one because look at all this money I have made. I am so much happier than I am as a travel nurse. And you know what? I might even take 1, 2, or 3 weeks off before I start my next contract. So, like I said, your fears are completely normal. However, usually once you kind of understand travel nursing a little bit more, these fears go away. So I hope this makes you feel a little more at ease about travel nursing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.